Welcome to the back of Ford's new Transit van. And in case you didn't know, I used to be a white van driver in a previous life, so I feel like I'm quite qualified to discuss the merits of this vehicle. So today we've been invited by Ford to drive around the Joburg inner city and deliver goods thanks to Ford and Gift of the Givers. We've also been challenged to an economy challenge, and while this is happening, my cameraman and I have to let you know what the vehicle's about. But before we hit the road, let's talk about the features on the Ford Transit and why this could be the vehicle to challenge Toyota's Quantum in the panel van segment. In Europe, white vans are exceptionally popular, and this one of the most popular. It's won the International Van of the Year award many times over. But in South Africa, the rival list is long and strong. But for now, the Ford's got the jump. It's got the 2-liter, 100 kilowatt, 316 Newton meter engine. It's 5.4 meters long, which makes it a very long car. The height was specifically designed to be less than 2 meters high, so that when you do go into a shopping complex, you know that 2 meters, you're safe. It's been rated to carry 1 ton on board, as well as 2.5 on a trailer braked at the back. You can shift some of that weight around, so you've got a maximum of 2.8 at the back, which is very capable for a car that needs to do what this van needs to do. It's 100 kilos lighter than the previous model and also has 13% less drag, which means it's supposed to be more fuel economical. The exterior is where most of the changes take place, and you can see LED lights at the rear are standard. At the back, you've got these 2 barn doors that open to 180 degrees. Options include auto power fold, dual heated mirrors, mobile office pack, integrated foldable roof rack, which I think is quite nice, and trailer tow electrics, among many other things like heavy-duty battery, etc. The standard list, though, is quite extensive. Standard, you get a whole bunch of safety features like ABS, EBD, and 6 airbags. In a van like this, that's quite unusual, where most of the competitors have 2. You also get keyless entry, a very thick immobilizer system, and Ford Connect if you want to monitor your cars on the road. So now it's time for me to get driving and see what the Ford Transit is like on the open road. I may have mentioned that I did drive white vans back in the day. And there are a few things that you need in a good white van. Number 1, storage capacity, and this one has got a lot of that. Now, granted, if you were towing 2.5 tons and a ton in the back, I'm not sure if this 100 kilowatt engine will be happy. But for this, with 1 passenger and a light load meandering through the city, it works. In case you're wondering about that economy challenge, I'm currently on 6.4 liters per 100, with, I think, the leader being on 6.1, but he doesn't have to work and film like we do, so I'm a little bit sour. The other thing that a van like this needs to be good at, it needs to be easy to drive, because the person that drives it needs to have to and want to do many hundreds of kilometers a day sometimes. And that's what this vehicle is designed to do. So you've got a very light steering system, you've got very light controls, brake, clutch, accelerator, and the gearbox, the 6-speed gearbox, is so slick and easy to use that I can actually rest my hand on the gear lever quite comfortably. I still can't get used to the steering wheel, but that's a conversation for another day, and the owners of the vehicle will have to report back on their findings. But let's talk about the interior. You've got storage bins absolutely everywhere. 2 cubby holes. The floor is actually flat so that you can slide over to the other side if you need to for whatever reason. The driver's seat has multiple adjustments, including height, which I think is kind of cool. And then my favorite, rake and reach adjustable square steering wheel. everything is going touchscreen. And I do think certain manufacturers are starting to walk back that policy, but Ford finds themselves right in the middle of the touchscreen revolution here with a 13-inch touchscreen in the middle. Very nice, but it's a touchscreen in a panel van. Is that a good idea? I'll leave that to you. In the front here though, you do get the electronic dash, which is exactly the same one you'll find in the Ford Ranger. That to me is a big winner. A vehicle like this needs to have easy step access, as you can see there. And speaking of access, you can even have a door as an option at the back here on this side as well. Then you've got this mirror over here, which has a nifty little blind spot section at the bottom here. I've always liked mirrors like this on big vehicles because of the boxy shape. It's actually quite easy to maneuver, and maneuverability is very important when it comes to a car like this. It comes with those very plain 16-inch wheels and high-profile tires, but that's exactly what you want in a vehicle like this that you're loaning to someone else. Considering that the old model started at 570,000 and this one starts at 692,200 including VAT, there should be a lot of the older models on the used car market over the coming months. So for those that can't afford the premium, you've got that option. But if you want a brand new car with roadside assistance, a 4-year 120,000 kilometer warranty, and a 5-year corrosion warranty, then the 692,200 Rand starting price is for you. Welcome back to Ignition GT. For almost 60 years, the Transit van has been the preferred vehicle partner for businesses of all shapes and sizes, and in many parts of the world too. Ford has gone to great lengths to ensure the latest version remains true to the reputation and practicality, of course dependability that a van should have. Let's start with fuel economy on that 100 kilowatt engine. It's surprisingly economical, that vehicle.
We didn't take it that serious as you did, but we were still averaging around about 7 to about 8 on that trip, and that was in some instances with the air conditioning on, and it performed very, very well. Even up here, yeah, it's diesel and turbocharged and so on, but it performed very, very well. That's the thing that you want when it comes to a business aspect, is fuel efficiency.
I also found that I think it's 360 kilowatt newton meters of torque.
Yeah,
that was more than sufficient. We obviously loaded up the. I know we were all on different days of launch, but we ran some. How would I phrase this? Charitable efforts with Ford, and we loaded up the cargo hold with probably 200-300 kilos worth of goodies.
Yeah.
And again, didn't necessarily notice too much of a hindrance on that.
Not at all.
And I know that Charles, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it is over a ton worth of payload capacity.
just over 1.2 tons.
So on your point there, Alex, do you think, however, that a 100 kilowatt engine is going to be big enough if it's fully loaded with your passenger and it's supposed to be able to tow up to 2.5 tons braked as well?
So kilowatts and torque, I think that's where the difference is for a vehicle like this. I think the torque's the more important aspect of pulling things, of carrying things. So it's not fast. You're not going to win races.
No.
That 100 kilowatts definitely not going to get you anywhere very quickly, but it's fast enough. You'll be able to overtake. You'll be able to get going relatively comfortably.
The future does hold an automatic version, bigger engines, etc. This one, however, has got the manual gearbox, which I really enjoyed. Such a slick manual gearbox. The clutch action, it's surprisingly nice to drive. And I've always said that a vehicle that works hard needs to be fun to drive, or at least nice to drive, because the person that's going to be doing the work has to spend hours and hours behind the wheel.
Look, it is very, very fun to drive, and you're quite correct. If you're going to be spending quite a long time on the road doing long distance driving, you want something that's comfortable, that's fun to drive. The gearbox, as you mentioned, it is brilliant. It is so nice to use. It's not a long through thing. It's nice and short. It's very direct.
So when it comes to rivals in this segment, I know that you from Car Magazine, you would have tested hopefully every single one of those rivals at some stage. How does it stack up against the current foray? Because we know it's award-winning in the UK. It's a massive seller in the UK. how's it going to do in South Africa against Toyota?
South Africans are brand loyal, firstly, and for something like this, you're probably going to be putting plenty of mileage on it, and you're going to want to make sure that something that you purchase is going to be there for the long run. Now, I know Ford, more importantly, also do offer the optional service plan, which is 5-year, 100,000 kilometer, if I'm not mistaken. And Neil
upgrade
Hill,
that to a full maintenance plan as well.
There's obviously aspects, so I think that's an additional 20 grand or so. But yeah, I think in terms of the Toyota, they've got that reputation of reliability and durability, and it can run everywhere. It's got the same powertrain as just about any other light commercial vehicle Toyota offering in the country. So that's where they win, because it's the economy of scale, I think, as well.
Do you think a touchscreen in a flippin' panel van, is it necessary?
If you're a courier and you need to go somewhere, you plug your phone in or your device that you use for work,
you don't
get the map on the screen, and that's how you get going.
That's a good point.
I think it makes it a lot more accessible. Obviously, it doesn't have the best sound system, but it shouldn't. I mean, it's a utilitarian van.
I do like your point of the map on the screen, and if it means making our roads safer, then more power to them.